sit there with Joe, because Joe liked to lecture.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know, and you know that.
Oh yeah.
And everybody sitting there listening, and I said, and Joe said, oh God. There he goes, he's arguing. And you know something, Bill? I didn't realize until later. I had a lot of damn nerve. That man fired me. I mean, what y'all talk the boss? No, you know, you ain't right. You know.
He respected you for that.
But the point isn't, I didn't realize I was doing.
You told your point of view.
You know, and he used to do this. Sometimes he walk around the office. Oh God, there he goes. I mean it. With his head up to his head. Oh God, there he goes. And it was so funny, Bill, because when I look back, I said, you have a lot of damn nerve. But this is like all the other guys. He would, because Joe loves to tell you what you should do. Like I would say, Joe, son, now let me tell you. I said, now, Joe, there you go. You won't tell me now that, you know. I said, how do you know I want to listen to what you got? You know, I don't know exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
But Joe, because everybody wouldn't say, nobody say nothing. Yeah, they wouldn't challenge him, you know. And then, you know what I used to do? Like, guys would be doing something. I said, well, Dave, I said, you know, you shouldn't do this. Or I said, Bob, you shouldn't do this. And Joe said, Leroy, come here. Let people stay in their worlds. They're happy there. Leave them alone. You're around here telling everybody what they should do. Leave people alone and let them stay in their world. They're happy. And you know, the point made me laugh. Here I am getting paid. I think at that time, getting about 150 a week. That's big money then.
$150 a week.
And Joe said, stick with me. I'll never forget this. Joe said, stick with me, and you'll make $2.25 a week.
$75 a week.
No,
wow.
I was excited. This is not to hit the jackpot.
$2.25 a week.
$2.25 a week. That was Joe's famous $2.25 a week.
That was his buzzword. He knew exactly how to get to it. $2.25.
And I was so happy. Joe
that
said,
was the magic
and
number.
He would say, stick with me. Stick with me, you'll get $2.25 a week. I'll never forget that.
You know, those days were,
I love it.
Those are the days of bodybuilding and the camaraderie. I mean, you hung out with you worked with all the guys. You, Draper, Harold. I mean, we all were together. We were like.
And Harold used to rule the place. You know, Harold walked around like this. Everybody scared of Harold.
Didn't you have to put Harold in his place?
Oh yeah. So hey, let me tell you what happened.
I heard about that.
Harold said. Harold was sitting up on the ramp, and I was down there. I didn't want to, you know you're not going to challenge Harold. But Harold said, Leroy, move that box before I come down there and smack the shit out of you. See, now I was the next man to dominate. Everybody else scared to death of him, you know. So I said, come on. And he ran down. I just put my hand out. He ran right to my.
Somebody
boom,
said
right
somebody said you knocked Harold out.
No, I didn't knock him out.
No, but I heard the story. You know what? The time in the warehouse, I heard this story over, and I said, no, okay. He said, man, Harold went after Leroy, and Leroy wasn't gonna have none of that.
Now, you know, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have to fight him, because Harold, Harold had everybody intimidated,
except for you.
And that's what he didn't like. He said, I got to get Leroy. Now I can tell. So he had to find a way. He said, Leroy. I said, what, move that box before I come down there and smack the shit out of you.
Wow. Smack the shit out of 21-inch arms.
You know. And I said, here it goes. So I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, I said, well, you know, come on down. So he come running down there, and I just, he ran right into it. Boom. His nose splattered all over blood.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, here's what Harold was from then on. Hey, Leroy, what do you think about this?
You had to teach a young buck some respect.
He was tamed.
Sometimes there's things you just got to do to make people have a little respect.
Well, guys, I mean,
he got in the frame.
He had guys cowering.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they were cowering over him because
Harold was tough.
And you know, because he had a speech impediment too.
Right.
You know?
So that made him more tough because he had to be tough because of that impediment he had. But I think inside Harold was a nice guy.
Oh yeah.
Because I got my time to know Harold. Like we talked about, you know, the camaraderie, and the fact of the matter is, when you saw a guy in the magazine, you thought you knew him all your life. And once you met him, it's like, I know him all my life. Harold and I became good friends. He used to work at the Cheetah. in New York. He was a body. He was a bouncer. Yeah, that's where his brother got killed at. And I used to come over and try and impress the girls from Jersey. Come on to New York. I got a club. I can go to the Cheetah.
Well, you a womanizer like Arnold. I think you beat Arnold out. I think you built big Arnold out there. Because you know you grip, you know.
Maybe that's why me and Arnold sometimes had a little friction.
Yeah, because you grip, you know. You didn't know which one.
We used to have a little friction back and forth.
This man is king of the bodybuilders, and he knows how to talk.
Yeah, we loved those girls here in Southern California back in the day, baby.
Wait a minute, good God.
We're
looking at talk forever?
Yeah, we got one more little thing to do.
What else we talking? Jesus. What?
Where were we at now?
I got to get the hell out of here.
Look at him, he wants to leave already. We're in the middle of an interview, and he wants to leave.
In the middle of it,
All right, so if you want to wrap it up, then go ahead. Any last minute advice for future bodybuilders about anything? What was the last thing you'd have to, if it's your dying breath, what's the last thing you want to get out there, let the world know?
All right, well, let's put it this way. If you want to be a bodybuilder, don't let anybody discourage you. I'm serious, because I was discouraged a lot. But I read this book one time real quick by Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. I think Arnold read that book too. Listen, you can't let anybody stop you or stand in your way no matter what. So if you have that dream, you've got to go for it. But hey, train smart, be wise. This is a dangerous world with all the things that are going on. You've got to be careful. You have to think. There's life after bodybuilding. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in any sport, there's life after that sport. You've got to ensure yourself that when that sport is done, you're still going to be intact. And I feel very honored now that I'm still intact, and to be able to be 64 and still show your arm that looks like that. And I feel really proud of that. And when a guy like Leroy keeps telling me when I come out here to see him how great I'm looking at this age, it really makes me think that I did the right thing. I did everything that everybody else did back in the day, and I don't want everybody to think I was a goody good boy. I took steroids like everybody else, but back then it was legal. So people have to understand that. There was no laws against it. But that was the whole deal. It was a competitive thing. Today now, it's all about longevity. You gotta think about the future. And I know when you're young, you feel like you're immortal. But hey, as you get my age and Leroy's age, you find out about your mortality.
Especially my age.
You really think about your mortality. So just train smart, be smart, and think about this life after the sport. Leroy?
Yeah, well, you did very well. I like that. Well, you know, to me, bodybuilding is just part of your life. I mean, it's not like when we were growing up, it was more of our life than it would be today. And people mainly want to get into shape. And what I want to get across to most of the fellas that are just starting or into it, do not get hung up on steroids thinking you're going to build overnight, because the body doesn't work that way. I think you should get into this and not look at it for anything else except to be healthy. You're not going to become a rock star, or you're not going to become famous building your body. It's just not out there. Train for your health. Whatever comes, if you want to get more involved, then get involved with it. But don't start off thinking that you're going to win a contest and all you got to do is take some juice and it'll work. Because I see that all the time. Young fellas coming in the store saying, where can I get the stuff? Where can I get some juice? And I said, are you kidding me? You don't have enough muscles to even start with the juice. And first of all, the juice will not work if you don't have some development to begin with. Fortunately, a lot of these fellas don't understand. You cannot start juice on a body that's not trained. It will not work. And you shouldn't do the juice in any case unless you really have a body that will respond to it. So I would basically say and when a guy takes the juice, he's got the muscles that could feed and respond to the juice. So these young fellas I mainly want to get across is, forget about all these drugs and things and train for your health. If anything else comes along that you want to do, if you feel motivated to go further. But start off not with this dream of looking like Olympia Winters, because you're just going to burn out and never get the most out of bodybuilding. You should bodybuild for your health. Get into this, build your health, build some vitality, so you can have a stump like Bill when you get 64. Bill's got this because he went step by step by step. And a lot of these young fellas today don't want to wait. They think do it overnight. You can't. And if you do it and you find that it's something to respond to, then, there's one of his women. It's one, oh boy, he can't even at his age.
When you're on TV, that shouldn't be happening.
Even at his age. But that's about all I
But you
want
know,
to say.
and you're right. It's like trying to build a building without having a foundation. And I tell a lot of these guys too, and it's not that I'm jealous of them or don't want them to get there, but if steroids was the key to being a great athlete, you know how many great athletes we'd have? Millions of them.
Well, you know what, Bill? They tell me, they come in, and I say, I got Barry Bonds coming in. They say, well, if he wouldn't have been to hit all those home runs, he wouldn't take steroids. I said, then why isn't 20 Barry Bonds?
That's right.
It's all you have to do is take steroids. Steroids do not give you skills. It makes you stronger.
Exactly.
That's all it does.
Yeah.
And by being strong, it helps you, it enhances, but don't make.
Right. It gives you an extra 10%.
It doesn't make it enhance.
It doesn't make a champion.
No, it enhances.
That's all.
It's
an enhancement.
And these young fellas, primarily,
Sometimes they don't see that.
they come in thinking that somebody will get a shortcut to bodies you worked on. You know how many years you worked to get a stump like this? And I mean, this is not your best stump.
It was years
You
before I even thought about
and you took these one now, and look at it.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, listen, and I didn't start taking that right away. I trained for years.
Right, built the
Before
foundation.
doing anything like you got. It's like, again, like trying to build that building without a foundation. It's going to crumble. And you're right, guys, take it before they even. I lived in Sweden real quick, and we can be done. I lived in Sweden, and one guy says, "Oh, I got to start now, and I'm going to start training about 4 or 5 weeks. Take the stuff before 4 or 5 weeks before I even start training." I was like, "What are you, nuts?"
No concept. He's going to destroy himself.
Well, that's what it was.
It was never designed for that. And another thing that's very important that most people don't understand, steroids were never developed for athletes. They were developed for sick people.
Right.
Because it holds the end product of protein digestion, which is nitrogen in the muscle. Sick people were not breaking down protein to be utilized, so they developed steroids so that you can utilize your protein and build your immune system. So it holds the nitrogen in the muscle, and it's like fertilizer.
Right.
When you're training, it makes you strong as hell, but you got to have a reason for that. Either you got to be sick, or you have to be a bodybuilder that's competing. That's my take on this with my good friend.
Well,
Grant.
we love bodybuilding for real.
I don't see him often, but when I see him, it's like I just saw him yesterday.
Well, that's the whole deal about bodybuilding. You make great relationships, and I've made a lot worldwide, and I made a great relationship and with Leroy. I mean, he's a fellow New Yorker, and I loved him when I first started. When I first saw him in that magazine, we were like brothers already. And I think that's what it was back in the day, that we had that camaraderie.
Yeah,
we had that belief in each other.
Because
we loved each other as brothers. We trained together. We ate together. We did everything together.
Because we can relate right off.
And I think that's the great thing about bodybuilding, that the people you see worldwide, the whole 9 yards. So, you know what? We're going to get back again and do this again. And we'll have some more extensive talks about bodybuilding because it is a great sport. We want to see it go further. We just need to get it together so we can get it back mainstream. Maybe all you guys might have some ideas. Bring them to us. Let us know how we can make it all great so we can all have those big shows like the Arnold Classic, but all over the world.
And you want people also to maximize their potential.
Exactly.
And you maximize your potential by looking at this, just like you said, as a building process, not to jump over the fence right away because you're not going to do it.
Right. Well, you got to crawl before you walk. My mother always told me that. Yo, boy, you got to crawl before you can walk. What you think, you're trying to walk already? You can't even crawl yet.
Some of them want to run before they can walk.
I know. So my mother was like that. It was strange. But we'll talk some more. We'll
to
talk
be
some
continued.
More. That's it. To be continued. Stay tuned. After a word from our sponsors.